The city of Vancouver, there's nothing like it when the sun shines. A cosmopolitan city, culturally diverse, with an amazing view of the mountains and the ocean. But beauty is not enough to live on, and Vancouverites, like residents in most places, are struggling with the cost of living. We sit down with Mayor Ken Sim to hear what he's doing to make life more affordable for his constituents and get his thoughts on how to make the streets safer, particularly in light of the upcoming FIFA World Cup in the city. Mayor Ken Sim, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I want to jump right into the 2026 budget. In late 2025, you and your ABC Council approved the Zero Means Zero budget featuring a 0% property tax increase. In order to achieve that, it means cuts need to be made elsewhere, which has since drawn some criticism over the service cuts, staff layoffs, rising user fees. How do you plan to maintain some of those essential city services without a revenue increase?
You know, there's an affordability crisis going on in the city of Vancouver. There are a lot of people, residents and business owners that are struggling, and I think it's incumbent upon us, like every other organization or family, to really take a hard look at what we do to make sure that we do our part to make things more affordable. And so at the city of Vancouver, we have a budget of what, it's $2.3 billion, give or take.
Okay.
And, you know, so there are some rooms for efficiencies there while maintaining core services, while maintaining service levels. And so that's the journey we were on, and happy to say we're making a lot of progress, where we're actually making additional investments in public safety, be it Vancouver Fire and Rescue Services or the VPD. You know, we have made sure that we maintain grants. We're still investing in core services like fixing potholes and garbage removal, and making sure that, you know, our parks and rec facilities and community centers get the investments that they need.
One of the city's departments receiving the highest increase is the Vancouver Police Department, around $50 million. How do you justify a dollar figure that big, and what measurable safety outcomes should residents expect by the end of the year? Like, how do citizens benefit from this?
So we were very clear. We support public safety, and that's what we were elected on. When we came into office, not only Vancouver Fire and Rescue Services, but the police department was significantly underfunded. We fully funded the police department for the first time in 15 years. And on top of that, we launched, you know, subsequent to that, we also launched Project Barrage, which was an initiative on the downtown east side to go after not individuals, you know, vulnerable individuals, but organized crime that were preying on vulnerable individuals. And we're happy about our investments, and I can tell you the outcomes have been pretty significant. While we want to continue to do more and make this place a lot safer, violent crime is down to 23 low in the city of Vancouver, and crime pretty much across the board is down as well. And so when you look at the investments that we've made, that's the outcome. And I would also like to say that there are things that are out of our control, or things that aren't directly related to policing that are included in the budget. For example, you know, you think about the horrible events of Lapu Lapu, right? And so when people talk about an increase in the police budget, do they want us to cut investigations on, you know, that incident, and making sure that all the individuals that were harmed, either physically or mentally traumatized, don't get the answers they need, and we don't prep for the future?
And you've made it quite obvious that your priority is public safety. What specific metrics show that Vancouver is safer today than when you took office?
Yeah. There's a whole a suite of metrics. So if you look at violent assaults, they're down to a 23-year low. Property crime, random assaults, most of the metrics are down. We do have some pockets where crime isn't down, and that's why we will continue to invest to make sure that all neighborhoods are treated the same. And you know, people get to enjoy safer streets in the city of Vancouver.
Statistics only mean so much when there is the perception from some of the public where they don't feel safe, and maybe don't feel as safe as they did X amount of years ago. So what do you say to those people that say, well, I know you're telling me that crime is down, but when I walk down the street, there are things that police can't control, like stranger assaults, like what we've seen. What do you say to them?
A lot of the issues that we have, the root cause, aren't actually criminal issues. They are healthcare issues. We have people that are deeply sick on the streets of Vancouver that need proper healthcare who aren't getting it. And then what it translates into is someone who isn't helped poses a serious risk to themselves and their health, or the health and safety of others. And so the provincial government, in this case, they committed to 400 mandatory care beds for people that are experiencing significant mental health challenges or substance use disorder. And at last count, there were 0 beds in the city of Vancouver, and I think about 20 in the entire region after a year and a half of making that promise.
When City News Connect returns, we will continue speaking with Mayor Ken Sim about public safety and the mental health crisis in the city. We are back to continue our conversation with Mayor Ken Sim, who tells us how the city is working to keep Vancouver streets safe. We know that public safety goes hand in hand with the mental health crisis, with the toxic drug crisis. I want to know maybe why the focus has shifted from your initial campaign promise to hire 100 mental health nurses to now a broader initiative with Vancouver Coastal Health with various mental health workers. How does this better address the crisis in the downtown east side and beyond?
We have the first Indigenous crisis response team. We've really upped resources when it comes to CARS 8788, which is where you have a police officer teamed up with a mental health nurse, and they work very collaboratively together to make sure they help people before they experience a mental health crisis. So there are a whole bunch of things that we've done. We've triaged a bunch of calls and redirected over 1,000 calls from a police response to a mental care, healthcare response instead. So we've had a lot of positive outcomes. Like I said, we're really proud of what we've done or achieved, and we're still committed to these resources.
You mentioned earlier Task Force Barrage. Where do we stand with that team as of today? Are there still plans to make this more permanent with a new policing district? Where do things stand with Task Force Barrage?
We've learned a lot from Project Barrage, and the outcomes with a concentrated approach towards targeting organized criminals is effective. And so since then, I know the VPD has come up with a new district. We've created a District 5 for the downtown east side. So it's very concentrated where most of, the criminal activity and policing activity sort of happens. So it's a really focused district where we can really allocate more resources and concentrate our efforts on.
And so you believe that what this team is doing is working? You're seeing tangible change, and it's not just optics of more police officers on the ground?
No, look, not really concerned about optics, really concerned about outcomes. Is the place getting safer? Is property crime down? Is theft, from auto or bike thefts or people stealing from local businesses, is that down? Are we getting to the root causes of these challenges and addressing them? And I think that's when people in Vancouver, they'll start to feel even safer in our city when these activities start to diminish because of our investments in public safety.
We've talked a lot about the downtown east side, but sadly, this issue of street disorder and crime is not just in the downtown east side. Another area we hear about a lot is the Granville Entertainment District. And there's been a lot of press conferences. I've seen you at those press conferences with business owners that are frustrated, upset about the street disorder and the crime and the difficulty to maintain their business because of what's going on around it, and calling for the SROs to close. Now, ultimately, it's up to the province to close those, but what are you doing as a mayor to advocate for those businesses to make sure that they are heard and that they aren't forced to close for reasons outside of their control?
We've been standing shoulder to shoulder with the business owners, not only doing everything we can do to support them, be it increasing police presence, helping with permitting, bylaws, doing everything we can to help their business models, bring vibrancy to the street. We've also been working behind the scenes with the provincial government to address issues like the Lugat and to address, the SROs. A lot of them are dilapidated. They're unlivable. They're inhumane. And highlighting this and making sure that before we make any more investments in additional supportive housing, we have to fix the current stock that we have that people are barely making it through. And if you ever see one of these places, the ones that are in just poor shape, they're unlivable. And so we've been putting pressure on the provincial government, and we've been asking for assistance from the federal government to make meaningful change, and we're starting to see that. The provincial government, they've at least verbally committed to start, providing better housing options and outside of the Granville Entertainment District, but this will take time.
You talk about that pressure that you need to put on the provincial government. It appears it's gotten to an extreme point now that we've seen multiple of these news conferences of them saying something needs to be done. Then we see it again, something needs to be done. So is it at the point where you pick up the phone and you call the housing minister, you call the premier and say, hey, it's been years. What's happening?
We are not only do we not have the resources, we do not have the jurisdiction to deal with healthcare challenges or building hundreds, if not thousands, of units of supportive housing. And so the province needs to step up and deal with the situation, or just tell the public that they're not going to deal with it. I think that's where we're at right now.
When City News Connect returns, Mayor Sim will tell us about how he's addressing the affordability crisis in Vancouver. We are continuing our conversation with Mayor Sim, who tells us what his team is doing to make housing more affordable in Vancouver and how they're preparing for the FIFA World Cup. I want to talk about housing and affordability, the affordability crisis that you spoke of. It's not a secret that whoever comes here, whether you grew up here, whether you move here, people say Vancouver's so expensive, rent is so expensive. I know you're playing your part with your zero property tax increase. I want to know your thoughts on the provincial mandates to build high density housing in low density areas. You were actually one of the mayors that did not sign the letter to EB to repeal the legislation. Why was that?
Well, first of all, we have a lot of high density projects that are being built along subway lines here. And so a lot of the things that that legislation advocated for, we're already dealing with. So it's not, it's not super pressing if we, sign that letter or not. What I can tell you as well is we've done a lot of work laying the foundation to, create an environment where we can build, or create an environment where builders of all different types of housing can build housing in the city of Vancouver faster. And so be it clearing up regulatory red tape, be it what we've done on view cones or shadow policy, be it pre-zoning 26 village nodes to make it easier to build houses in the city of Vancouver. When you do that, it gives home builders of all types more confidence to build, and they can build faster, which means it costs less to build, which will translate into more affordable housing on, all sides of the housing spectrum. And we're starting to see the benefits of it. Rents are down in the city of Vancouver, as an example. That comes in large part to the fact that people see that there's more housing. Like, we have tens of thousands of units that are on the books now to be built, and it's all this helps in making, addressing, rents, and we're seeing rents come down, so we're happy about that.
You mentioned FIFA earlier. Let's talk about the World Cup. Super exciting event for the city of Vancouver. What is the city doing to prepare for an event of this magnitude when it comes to security, accommodation, transportation, you name it? What goes into planning on the city's end?
Oh, we've been planning for years. And so, transit, VPD, Vancouver and Fire Rescue, we have our own team at the City of Vancouver. We deal with other police agencies, tourism, like all the different tourist organizations like Destination Vancouver. We're all working together to pull off an incredible event. Public safety obviously is at the forefront of it. And so we've been doing a lot of work on that, and I can tell you we will pull off a very safe set of games, and also planning for making sure it's a lot of fun. And so when you look at what we're going to be hosting at the PNE Amphitheatre, for example, there are going to be live viewings of every single game. So you can watch the game if you can't afford a ticket to the actual game, or you're not in Seattle or New York, you can go to the PNE Amphitheatre in the PNE grounds and watch the games. There's going to be a lot of events planned, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I also think that Vancouverites should take this as an opportunity. One, obviously, it's going to be a great time. Two, it's a chance to celebrate our city. Three, for the businesses, it's an opportunity for them to really do well during the games. But it's also a massive branding exercise. It's a commercial on a global scale for the city of Vancouver that's going to pay dividends for years to come. I think these estimates are conservative, but it's going to bring $1 billion of economic impact to the city of Vancouver. I think that's incredibly late, because when you have the entire world looking at your city for 7 games, and then all the follow-up stories of all the national teams that come here and their country's media that are going to be following the teams and showing them around the city, it's going to be lights out. We are so fortunate to be able to have these games, to host these games. Any challenges that we have, these are great challenges to have.
When City News Connect returns, we will continue the conversation with Mayor Ken Sim about how the city is preparing to welcome the world for FIFA. We are continuing our conversation with Mayor Ken Sim about how Vancouver is preparing for FIFA. What lessons have you learned from past major events? What comes to mind immediately is the tragedy at Lapu Lapu, and how does one prepare security-wise for an event like FIFA to make sure that everybody feels safe and is safe?
Yeah. Without breaching, security protocols here, what I can share with you is we've been working on this for years. It represents a significant part of the budget. VPD, RCMP, the military, cross-border, our partners down in the States, we're all, working together on this.
With such a major event coming to Vancouver, there is some concerns surrounding the homelessness in the downtown core and what that means when you have thousands and thousands of tourists downtown. How do you balance the need for Vancouver to be a welcoming, clean city, but also being compassionate for the people that do call the streets their home?
Yeah, I'm a true believer you can do both. And so, the humanitarian crisis that's been thrust upon us through a lack of, adequate, healthcare supports or housing, we have to deal with. But we've had to deal with this before FIFA World Cup, and we'll have to deal with it after. And as, a just society and one that's compassionate and caring, that's what we're committed to. And we do have an opportunity to make sure that we shine up our city, throughout the entire city. So as soon as you drive in from the airport, every touch point, we want to make it spectacular. And so having clean streets, having things beautified, making sure that all of our neighborhoods have the support they need from the city of Vancouver to really shine. And, I think of Commercial Drive and the experience it's going to be like during World Cup there, making sure that we support them, just like we'll support, Yale Town or the amphitheater activities. These are all things, investments that we're going to make sure that anyone who visits Vancouver has a very positive impression.
As of right now, are there any specific plans to clean up areas like the downtown east side or the Granville Entertainment District?
Yeah, it wouldn't be unlike anything that we've significantly different than what we've been doing for the last little while. You look at Chinatown, we have street cleaners that come in there all the time. We have graffiti removal investments. We have more, trash bins to help keep the place cleaner. And those are investments that we're going to be rolling out throughout the city if we haven't already done in various neighborhoods. So this is an ongoing thing. It might look a little more pronounced during FIFA World Cup, but as an administration, we've been committed, and we will continue to be committed to providing core services, which, it's not the sexy stuff, but filling potholes, making sure garbage is removed, and keeping our streets clean.
Mayor Ken Sim, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Great. Thank you very much for having me.
That's it for City News Connect. I'm Kate Walker. Thanks for watching.